Hello, Wonderhussy here, just barreling down the freeway, leaving Las Vegas, headed for the middle of nowhere, because some random guy asked me to meet him out in the desert so he could show me something. Now, come on, you know me better than that. I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not gonna drive out to the middle of nowhere to meet just any random dude to see any old random thing. You know it had to be something cool to get me out here, and it is. The guy sent me pictures. He builds custom wooden truck campers, and they look really cool from the photos. So I told him I'd meet him out here just outside town. We're really not going to the middle of nowhere. We just wanted more of a nature backdrop than, you know, meeting him somewhere in this city. So I'm just headed right outside Vegas to the old Boulder City dry lake bed, where I'm going to meet up with this guy and see if his campers are as cool as they look in the photos. All right, there he is, as promised, with a camper made entirely of wood. Hey man, what's up?
How's it going? I'm Dave.
Dave, nice to meet you, and this is your wooden camper.
That's it. You say that kind of suspiciously, right?
Well, you know, like I was telling everybody, a strange guy invites me out to the middle of nowhere to check something out. Well, you never know what it could turn out to be, but this looks amazing.
You like it?
I sure do. Let's take a closer look.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so when did you build this truck camper?
So I started it September of last year, and I just finished it up about a month ago.
Okay, so it took about 5 months to build?
It's about four and a half, something like that. It took me about 500 hours.
500 hours?
Yeah.
And you're just doing this as a hobby?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
so I thought it was a business, but no, just a hobby.
Yeah, just a hobby. You know, basically, just like you and a lot of your viewers, I really enjoy coming out in the desert, me or my kids sometimes. And I was tired of sleeping in a tent. My wife said, no, you can't buy an RV.
No, oh, so that's why you built a camper. The wife said no RV.
And in short, I was kind of just trolling around the internet, and I stumbled across, it's now a company which doesn't exist as far as I know, is called Casual Turtle Campers. And they made campers. They made a couple different varieties, and they made even some trailers, but their kind of claim to fame was they were made out of cedar.
Oh.
So there was no YouTube presence, there was no instruction plans, it was just simply a website that was still up, and there was a couple pictures. There's about 10 pictures, and I saw that and got inspired. I've done woodworking for just as a hobby again for close to about 20 years, and I looked at this guy's couple pictures that he had, and I said to myself, you know, I could probably build something like that.
You basically just followed his pictures?
Yes.
Holy cow. So this was built from scratch. You didn't buy a camper and cover it in wood.
No, this is
all built from the ground up by you.
Absolutely.
Holy, what was the frame?
So the frame is pieces of cedar, and when we get inside, I can show you.
So it's all cedar?
Well, mostly. I do have some oak. I use a couple different species of wood. I use some oak and poplar, and some, it's kind of like a heartwood pine. It's called premium pine. It's
wow.
For some of the more structural components in there.
Why? Because it's like harder wood or more durable?
Yeah. And so, like, for example, oak, you know, like this whole door is all handmade. So the whole door frame is oak.
Well, let's look at the door.
Yeah, and then...
Sasquatch.
There you go.
What's that all about? Have you ever seen a Sasquatch?
No, I have not. But it's kind of, I don't know, you know, I think it's kind of an interesting mystery. And
well, it fits with like the wood cabin vibe of the camper.
So cedar, which is the primary wood here, has a lot of good qualities. It's
smells amazing.
It smells amazing. It's resistant to water, you know, rotting in water. I mean, it can,
okay.
but it's good where it has exposure to elements. It's bug resistant, and most importantly for this camper, it's lightweight.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, what's the total weight of this camper?
Dry, it's 800 pounds.
That's it?
That's it. With all my junk and water and everything, it's probably, you know, a little over 1,000 pounds.
With water?
Yeah, with water and
all your gear.
Appliances. Yeah, so it's pretty unprecedented. But I could only do it because of the cedar. Now, kind of going back to the different species, one of the downsides of cedar is it's a little bit soft. So places like where you're going to have a lock set.
I see. Okay.
I used oak, so it's heavier, and I have to accept that weight. But from a structural standpoint,
Well, yeah, you want to have a secure lock.
Yeah.
Is that a Sasquatch proof lock?
I think so.
So he's not going to steal your beef jerky?
No.
Okay, good. Just checking. So 800 pounds dry weight, and what kind of truck is this that you have it on?
This is a 2001 Chevy Silverado.
Chevy Silverado. Okay.
Yeah. It's got a 6-liter gas, and it's primarily stock. I've got the the KO2s.
Okay, yeah, great tires. That's what I have.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
I got a leveling kit in the front. I've got a winch on it, and it's 4-wheel drive. But it's essentially a stock truck. But this thing has been amazing off road. I mean, you're not going to rock crawl in it, but
sure.
Essentially, the drivability of the truck off road and on road was not really affected by the camper at all.
Oh, nice.
Now, of course, I'm going to have some clearance limitations if you're in the forest or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was.
Oh my God! But if you're in the forest in this cabin, like how friggin' I hope there's a lot of hot cocoa in this wooden cabin on a truck.
There actually is.
I bet there is.
I like to go off road. Not necessarily for the sake of off-roading itself, but I like to get out where no one else is.
Right, sure.
And I didn't want to compromise that with this camper. I wanted to try to reach a balance between comfort and mobility.
Well, what do you figure the cost of materials was to build this?
So probably the structure, windows, hardware, probably about $2,000.
$2,000, that's not bad. Plus, how many hours did you say it was?
I'm estimating about 500 hours.
500 hours, okay.
I didn't want to tally them up because I didn't want to know.
Yeah, right there.
But
You'd be depressed.
my rough estimate's about that.
Well, think of it. You could have spent those 500 hours watching football.
I could have.
Yeah, and look what you have now. So this is totally off-grid.
Off-grid.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get this on camera, but there's solar panels on the top of that thing.
Yeah, so it's got 400 watts of solar.
400 watts.
And then the electrical system is run by a solar generator. Are you?
No, I don't know what that is, but
okay.
I'm sure my viewers do.
So that's kind of the term that's used, but it's basically a 3-in-1 unit. It's a great big lithium-ion battery. It's got an inverter, and it's got a solar charge controller.
And so that's what powers the fridge.
Powers the fridge.
And you said there's an air conditioner?
I do, yeah. So I have like, so I can power the fridge. I have lights, but I also let me shut the door and I'll show you guys here.
We'll go inside in a minute.
Put a 5,000 BTU window unit inside of this.
Oh, that's what that little hatch is?
I don't know how well it'll show up here, but what I did is I created a ducting system because these window units, they work as they got hot exhaust that blows over the condenser, but they have an intake. So you can see this partition here. I created a duct for the hot exhaust.
Oh, wow.
And then there's an intake right here. The intakes are on the top and both sides. And then the AC unit sits inside of the camper. This little door,
okay.
I insulated it, and then when you're not using it, you just shut it. So when you go to use the AC, you would pop open that hatch. The reason I did that is I didn't want a big window unit hanging out the back of the camper.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So now I didn't know if it would work, that whole ducting system, because that condenser and the intakes are meant to be exposed to open air. But
you've tried it and you haven't had any issues.
Yeah, no, it works fine.
And so the only thing that you're compromising is that little amount of storage space.
Correct. Yeah.
Hey, that's better than having it hanging off the back.
Yeah, I think so.
What about this other hatch here? What's that under the Sasquatch?
Oh, this was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Tell us all about your mistake.
So the AC unit was originally going to sit, and when we go inside, I'll show you. There's like a little space here. It's going to sit down here. However, I in my preliminary test, I realized that cold air sinks. And I changed the design and ended up putting up there.
Okay.
One of the things I tried to do in this camper is keep all of the weight as low as I could inside of the camper.
Oh, to keep like a low center of gravity?
Yeah, so the 5,000 BTU unit weighs 37 pounds, so it's not super heavy, but I was trying to keep it.
Sure, of course.
But, for efficiency and functionality, I decided to...
Gotta put it up top.
Put it up top. When I made the front, I don't have a wind tunnel, so I'm kind of guessing a little bit, but...
What? You don't have a wind tunnel?
But I did attempt to make the cab over as aerodynamic as possible, because again, my goal was I wanted to not affect the drivability of the truck as much as I could. So I added the profiles. If anyone's curious what I did with the roof the roof is because you guys can see those curves, and that was actually quite a bit of trial and error to get all that to work.
Oh gosh, I bet.
It's actually the base of the roof is 15/32 construction grade plywood, and I actually had to wet it and bend it over time.
Oh gosh.
I formed it into the shape of that, and then I put on a couple layers of fiberglass and gel coat. So the roof is essentially fiberglass.
Oh, okay, and completely waterproof.
Completely waterproof, and ideally, largely maintenance free. I mean, I really built this to last, hopefully decades or maybe even a lifetime. From a truck camper standpoint, I think that's one thing to consider. Obviously, a lot of people are building out vans and stuff. My truck, this will wear out. It's been a great truck, but it's an old truck. It's just about 20 years old now.
Oh, okay.
The nice thing about these truck campers, this is built for universal dimensions for a full-size truck.
So any full-size bed.
Yeah. So when my truck wears out, I can pull the camper off. Get an equivalently sized truck, put it on there. And I mean, who knows? Maybe in 10 years, they might have an electric truck, or they might have
pop that right on the Cybertruck.
Yeah. I mean, there might be some other technology.
Can you imagine a wood camper on a electric truck? Wow.
Yeah, but that's kind of the nice thing about the truck camper is all of the energy that went into the build itself is not lost if the vehicle fails.
Pop it into a new one.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're gonna go inside. And oh wow, this is so cozy.
So one thing to think about the structure of this, this thing is actually insulated really well. The insulation started right here with the floor.
Oh, okay.
So there's 2 inches of polystyrene foam board that insulates the entire floor of this camper.
Okay.
A lot of campers, the floors aren't insulated.
Yeah, and all that cold air comes right up through the floor while you're trying to sleep. Oof, yeah. No good. You insulated the walls too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I used a technique that I think is quite unique, but it's actually worked out really well. So this part right here is the skeleton of the camper, and this is
that's that pine that you were talking about.
Well, no, this is actually cedar, and I laminated it together, and so if you look right here, layer. You could see the beam that kind of goes all around the camper.
Oh, okay.
So, and then the walls attached to that, and then on the inside, this is actually a polystyrene insulation board, and then I wrapped it in a fabric. So this is actually duck. It's kind of like a light canvas.
Oh, okay.
And then those foam boards were inserted between the frame structure.
Okay. So this is just foam board right under this duck.
Yes. That was one of the big advantages of using a foam board was it was very lightweight, because otherwise, if I just put the insulation in, I would have to sheathe the inside with some sort of thin plywood.
Right.
But this made it easier to make.
So it's just foam board, and then like you put cedar over the outside, like these little...
Yeah, so the cedar is... I actually sourced this just from cedar fence pickets. I just got them from Lowe's. Yeah, so
no way. This is made out of a fence?
Yes. So this is just cedar, because cedar is kind of hard to get down here in southern Nevada, right?
I guess so, yeah. I'm not a woodworker, so I wouldn't have thought of it.
Here, I'll show you this. Take a look here.
That is so cool.
So
look at that. It is.
This is a cross section. So what I did is I just took the cedar... fence pickets, I planed them down to half an inch.
Oh gosh.
And then I created a lap joint, and then I actually used an exterior grade caulking in between that lap joint. Now the advantage of using that caulking is it allows flexibility, because you see all these gaps. This wood is going to expand and shrink.
Oh sure, yeah.
With humidity. So I had to create a mechanism to where I could allow flexibility in the structure.
Wow. All right, we're back inside the camper. We're just going to kind of start over here and go around the camper, and Dave's going to tell us what he wants to tell us.
So the nice thing about building this was I was able to put in and design, the layout of it. So right here is kind of the kitchen area.
Kitchen area, no.
So it does have a sink. It's a very simple sink. And I think one of the things that's a theme to this entire build is I was looking for modularity, meaning that the components I use, if they fail or break or technology improves, I could just remove and replace. And also kind of going back with using like the cedar fence pickets, I wanted to use stuff that was easy to obtain. I didn't want to have to use very specialty stuff.
Okay, so what? This is just some metal mixing bowl that you drilled a hole in?
Yeah, so
shut the front door.
Yeah, it's just a mixing bowl. They drill a hole. But I think here's where the unique thing is. So this device right here, I don't even know what you call it, but it's a 3-in-1 unit. It has a battery, a pump, and then of course the faucet shape.
Okay.
And
you just tap on it.
And they tap on it. Oh. They sell these on Amazon, but it really made it an easy water system because I didn't have to have an external pump. It's relatively quiet. These are just
it's all contained in the
this
unit
piece.
There.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it's USB rechargeable, so I can just
yeah, that's so neat.
Right back there.
Look at that.
So what I did is these are meant to sit on a 5-gallon water bucket.
Okay.
Right? And so I just bought these little plastic things. And then I found some PVC hardware, and this is just a friction fit, and there's a line there.
Wow.
And then down underneath here, it's probably going to be a little challenging to see.
I see. No, we can see there's a blue water.
Yeah, so I've got two of these.
There's a hose coming out of the top there, and that's leading.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, okay. You got two of them.
Two of them.
And that's the water that you carry?
That's the water I carry.
Okay.
So the advantage is it was a really simple and easy water system. And then what I do is it just dumps right out the bottom.
And affordable.
And affordable, yeah. It was
no wonder this thing only cost you $2,000 in materials.
And you know, the nice thing about those watering jugs is, like, let's say that you're by a stream and you want to fill it up. Mm-hmm. You know, I carry a water filter in here. You could just fill them up if they got damaged or you want to replace them for whatever reason.
They're cheap and easy to replace.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted open counter space, so I just carry, your standard.
Oh, okay, right. You just pull your stove out and set her up.
Yeah, just a standard 2-burner stove. Right. Put it up there. But in the meantime, when you don't use it, it's
sure. And then if you're someplace where it's nice weather, you can just cook outdoors. So
there you go. Yeah, and I even have like a little table that folds out from the side back there.
Oh, we'll check that out for sure.
So simple. I bet. Let's see if we can get some stuff to fall out here.
I bet we can. Well, this is all storage. Okay. Oh, that's all your food. Yeah,
that's my food. There you go. We'll leave.
Little Peak Mountain House. Yummy.
But this is just a standard cabinet. Of course, I put locks on it.
For sure. Gotta have
shelf.
That. Yep.
Little cabinets. Nothing special there.
Okay, but plenty of storage. And then I see that you have a insulated window covering.
Yeah. So this is another thing I came up with, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think a lot of you guys might like out there. I essentially just took a board. Wow. Now this is essentially constructed the same way the camper is. And then inset in it, this is a piece of that polystyrene foam board. I wrapped it in the fabric. It's attached inset in this door.
Genius. Now why don't you see more RVs that do that? They always have those cheesy Venetian blinds.
Yeah, so the advantage of this is these windows are tinted and they sit very high. So if you have it open, I'm not really concerned about having some sort of occlusion to it, right? So you can open it up, open the windows, look out, all that kind of stuff. And then if it's at night or you want privacy, this thing closes with just a...
Well, it's also just more energy efficient close like that, right?
Well, correct, because this is insulated now. So
if you're camping someplace real hot or real cold and you want to stay warm or cool,
there you go.
Shut the window. Wow, and what a beautiful detail. Who did that?
That was me. It was just a stencil.
Look at you.
and then this nest just... above here.
Sure does. Look at that. And then this is a magnet there. Okay,
yeah, that's a magnet. So it just.
I can't believe more RVs don't have something like that.
So another thing I really wanted was a seating area. So these I actually even made these cushions here.
Look at that.
But these cushions are just a simple.
Okay.
Just a simple chair.
Oh yeah.
This table.
2-person dinette.
Is on a lagoon mount.
Okay.
So that's pretty common in the marine industry, and it's becoming more and more common in vans. But it allows movability.
I see. Yeah. Wow, that's way better than what I have in my camper.
But it also, you can lift it off, and your feet are free, right? You don't have legs.
You don't have this stupid pole. Mine's one of those ones with a freaking post in the middle. That's a real pain.
Yeah. So this is just open free, and then you can. And then this also converts to a bed.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because didn't you say your kids come with you sometimes?
Yeah. So. My kids will sleep up there.
Oh, then that's the cab over. Look at that.
Yeah. So this is the cab over.
That's pretty spacious.
Yeah, it's a full-size bed.
A full-size bed.
I just use a 5-inch memory foam.
Okay.
It is a little narrow if you get right in the back.
Sure.
but
That's cozy.
I think so.
And you got this recessed lighting, so it's not like you're claustrophobic.
Yeah, I got it on a switch right there. And then this converts to a bed.
Okay, so you got additional. That's where you sleep.
Yeah.
When the kids get to bed.
So
is that like an extra chair for the table?
Well, it is. So this is actually so the idea of when you build stuff is you want everything to have multiple roles.
Oh yeah. If you're carrying the weight, it might as well serve more than one purpose.
Yeah. So this is a 3-part. It functions as a seat.
Okay.
I use it as a trash can.
Oh, look at that!
But also, this thing is this exact height here.
Okay.
So you pull this backrest off. You push the seat back, and then the backrests are cut to the exact height.
I see. So when you make it into a bed, that's like a central support column.
It's a central support, and it wouldn't seem like it would work, but trust me, it works. And then this
is a pillar. It's a seat. No, wait, it's a garbage can.
Yeah.
It's all three.
And then it has a magnet, and
I love the magnets to hold everything in place while you're traveling.
And then it just fits right there. So I just have a
that's like
just a chest fridge.
Nice.
Beer.
I bet. Okay, well, good to know, man. Good to know, because it can't all be hot cocoa. Sometimes you want a beer.
This is the 5,000 BTU AC unit, and then just a standard little
more storage.
And then this is
that's your nerve center.
Yeah, this is the electrical nerve center. This is a Blue Eddy EB 2400, so it's a 2400 watt-hour unit. And as I talked about, it has a big lithium-ion battery, solar charge controller, and the inverter.
Plenty of outlets there.
Yeah, so I can plug in
laptops, anything you want.
Yeah, this is the lights are on a dimmer.
Dimmer for the lights.
Yeah, just switches. I got an external light or an outdoor light right here.
Oh wow.
And then when, like I said, I had 400 watts of solar on top of it. So I just plug this in, and if you look, you can actually see it charging right there.
Oh yeah, look at that. I like how you have a air freshener in here. It smells amazing already, like wood. I mean, what do you need that for?
I don't know.
You're driving a house made out of cedar, and you have a new car scent. I don't know, Dave.
One final thing down here is I have a Porta Potty. This is just a...
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this
is like a little chemical toilet.
Yeah, little chemical toilet.
That's good to have. You never know, man.
Yeah, and...
Gotta have your pooper right under your rifle, because you never know what is going to happen. I like the way you have your rifle hidden with your hoodie, so no one would ever know.
No one will ever notice till now. Thank you.
But it's cool how you have the... I know, right? Sorry for that. It's cool how you have it right there by the colonial flag.
Yeah,
This looks like a founding fathers.
Yeah, this is just fun. It's just a single barrel.
Did you make this too?
No, actually, a good buddy of mine made this. So he made it for me, and I put it in here.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off talking about the rifle. Single barrel.
Oh, it's okay. So it's I bought it for like $80 one time, and I just...
It's the vibe of the truck camper.
I thought so. And
I mean, it's a cabin. You gotta have a rifle. There's bears and such out there.
That's right. And then you just...
Yeah, and then you put your hoodie over it, and no one would ever know it was there if it wasn't for these nosy, meddling YouTubers.
One last point on this AC unit is like you said, I have not tested it in the heat of summer. However, my initial preliminary test on its energy draw, like this is off grid, so I don't need to plug in anywhere. I don't need to run a generator. There's many anecdotes of other people who've done similar things that this solar gen can run this for several hours alone.
Really?
Yeah. And
overnight?
Then maybe not quite overnight, but another thing to consider though is the amount of draw that this has from a wattage standpoint is just over ideal peak solar generation. So now that would be that would be ideal solar conditions. But the real nice thing about this is I can be completely off grid and have some limited air conditioning, which is, I mean,
hey, some is better than none.
Yeah, and you don't really see that almost ever. So I don't need to run a generator. I don't need to plug in. If I needed to take the edge off before I go to bed, if it was, I went on a hike and it was hot in the afternoon, I could fire this bad boy up.
Well, you could probably cool this thing down and then close the window hatches and everything, keep it cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think the hottest day we had was close to 80,
right.
And it was pretty warm in here. It was kind of stuffy.
Yeah.
In 20 minutes, it cooled it down to where it was cold, and I shut it off, and it kept it cool for a long time. So, summer will tell how well it works, but
we'll check in with you in August.
Okay. One final point on the interior.
Oh wow, yeah, look at this.
Well, so this is a legitimate pallet wood. My kids and I were out in the desert by an old mine, just hiking around.
Sure, and you found an old, you know how they leave their old junk everywhere.
So we found an old pallet, and it was, this was completely natural aging from being out in the desert sun.
Wow, it's beautiful.
So we broke it up.
All those colors are natural.
100% natural. I didn't. Wow. The only thing I did is I put a couple coats of poly once I installed it.
Holy moly, that's beautiful.
But
for an old pallet just laying in the desert.
Yeah. Well, and it was interesting when I didn't realize at the time, but when I got it home and I planed it down and cut it, it was actually poplar and oak, so it was a hardwood pallet. Most pallets are pine.
Oh, so it was like just better quality wood.
Yeah, and now it is heavier, but it
just that one little detail.
It was this one, but it also fulfills a structural role.
Oh, you needed that to hold up the cab over?
Well, that, and it provided a shear strength to the side and side movement of the camper. So But I thought it was really special. It kind of memorializes.
That's cool. Yeah, the fact that you found it with your kids, that's neat.
Yeah, and it's recycling, right?
Yeah, no, and it is recycling. Okay, what about the storage under the seats there?
Yeah, so this camper is held to the truck by turnbuckles, metal. Mm-hmm. This allows me to access the front turnbuckles. These doors open.
Oh wow, look at that.
And then you could store stuff. So for example, I got a little bit of antifreeze down here, okay. And then I insulated it with the foam wood.
Where are you going, Alaska? Okay, we're back outside. I forgot I wanted to ask Dave about his table. You said there was a table out here.
Yeah. So right here it functions. I got my famous magnets again.
Yeah, his proprietary magnet system.
This is a reclaimed stick.
A reclaimed stick? Oh, wow, look at that. Looks like a tree branch.
I don't know. But
this
here,
is a little table for two.
Little table.
How cute.
And then it also functions as a door for the storage that exists between the side of the camper.
Oh, I love because of the wheel well.
And
Yeah, you don't want to waste any of that space. Oh, so you can use that for storage. You got your camp chair in there?
Yeah, I got the camp chair. What do you call those?
Ratchet strips. You got access to your turnbuckle there. Do you have the same kind of storage cubby on the other side too?
So what I did on the other side was when I built it, I knew I wanted to have space to have the chemical toilet in there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So this one, it's a little wider right here. And I still have a little storage. So this is just an axe that I put in here.
Just an axe, huh?
Just an axe.
That's all. Gotta have an axe when you're in a wood cabin, log cabin.
One other thing I want to touch base on the construction on this is, so if you kind of imagine from this level up, it's cedar and cedar framing. Okay. So this lower portion down here, the part that actually slides into the truck bed, I consider this kind of I call it the tub. And because it's not exposed to the elements, this bottom section, excluding the floor, of course, is actually made out of varying thicknesses of plywood. And that was it made for a stronger base, and it made for, frankly, ease of construction. And then I just coated it with a roll-on bed liner material.
Oh. Wow, this thing shuts up nice and tight, weatherproof, cozy.
Yeah, and I mean that was kind of the goal is
Have you considered putting a fireplace in it?
Well, I mean,
it's a wood burning stove.
So the wood burning, that brings up an interesting question about heating, right?
Oh yeah.
So a wood burning stove is popular, and it would be right at home with this. Yeah. They're actually great for heating campers. There's only the big downside for me though was it takes up a lot of space.
Yeah, where are you gonna put it in there?
Yeah, and again, if I were in a really cold environment and heat was more of a priority, I probably wouldn't have the AC, and maybe I could have shifted around other space and put in the wood burning stove. But I had to acknowledge the fact that
You're in the desert.
I'm in the desert, so keeping cool is more important to me than that. Hey, if I was in Alaska and I built this, definitely a wood stove would probably be.
But hey, we're not in Alaska.
There you go.
We are in the desert. Okay, wow, this is a really cool camper. And so you basically just did it as a project because you were bored, or what?
Well, I mean, there is definitely a practical element. I mean, I wanted a camper. I was tired of sleeping in the tent. In tents, but when I started building this, it was kind of therapy, and it also kind of functioned as a good conduit. My kids, I have 8 and 12-year-old kids. they helped me.
Oh, I bet they loved this.
They did, and they helped me in every step of this, and so it was a nice bonding experience. And it was also,
wow.
it was a way for me to teach them skill sets.
Is a boy or a girl or?
Yeah. My 12-year-old boy, 8-year-old girl.
Oh, how cute!
And they both worked on this, so they learned things. And
I bet they did.
Yeah, and it's funny how these things. I had built a camper, not a cab over, but something similar prior, and my kids also helped me with that one. And I don't make these to sell, but the first one I had to sell to build this one.
Right, yeah.
And it was touching. Like, I felt bad, but my little girl, like,
she loved that camper.
She started crying when I saw.
Oh no!
No, but
did she help you build the first one?
Yeah,
too?
she did. And we had went on camping trips together, and
she was sad to see it go.
Yeah, she was sad to see it. And sometimes you don't realize how much something meant.
Yeah, an emotion, like when you make something with your own hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and even like going back to the little accent wall there with the pallet wood. Yeah. That was us in the desert. We found it. We were impromptu breaking up this pallet in the middle of the desert. We don't have any tools. We were just ripping it over with our hands. And it's these, so building this was really important for my kids. It was, both skill sets, the importance of having the confidence to say, let's make something. And then, finally, outside of the practical element of having a camper and it being relatively low cost and fitting the criteria I wanted, spending time with the children, it also, for me, frankly, was really kind of therapeutic.
I bet it is.
I think a lot of us, and I know I'd heard you mention this before, is going out in nature. Mm-hmm. It's quiet. You get away from people. And, I find I might look like a weirdo, but sometimes when I'll go out by myself and I'll just, I don't even really worry about where I'm going. I just worry about walking, and I'll pay attention to every little step and every little rock. And building something is kind of therapeutic and meditative in that same sense, because you're I didn't even think about I thought about the final project in terms of design. Sure. But on a day-to-day basis, I just worked on what I was doing on that day. And I think, that was an unintended consequence, but wow. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. Yeah. And I think,
having a project,
having something,
and having that, and your kids having that project, because it was a rough year for them too, I'm sure.
Yeah,
their lives got upended.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's important. I think sometimes we forget that in the whole mix, but there's a value, whether you're walking across the desert or you're intently focusing on the moment, building something, being creative. I think there's a real value to that.
Oh, just like being present in the moment.
Being present in the moment, focusing on it. I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to sit back and I'm just going to work on it.
Enjoy the process.
Enjoy the process. It's in my garage. I'm in no rush.
Because you do. You enjoy the process. Like planing all them cedar fence posts. That was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. But at the end of it, when I looked back, I was like, you know what? This camper means so much more to me than just a place to lay my head in the middle of nowhere.
Definitely.
It's really a representation of the time with my children.
It is.
It's a representation of essentially saying, I don't know how to make something, but let's do it. And really a representation of, it's a construct of my mind. It's putting this, essentially having the confidence to just do something and make something. It's a representation of that 500 hours of time.
You can never sell this camper. Well, right on, Dave. I really enjoyed talking to you. I enjoyed seeing your camper. Thank you so much for your time. Everybody watching, guess what? Dave has his own YouTube channel.
I do. It's End Game, ENDGAME, all together.
Not to be confused with the movie?
Yes. So if you just search Endgame, you'll never find it. So if you were to search...
I'll put a link to his channel right up here and in the description.
But if you did search it, just search Endgame and then something like truck camper, and you'll find.
And so all your videos are about building this truck camper?
Yeah, most of them. I have a handful where I do some leather work. I touch on that a little bit. And then sometimes I'll do a little bit of like exploration videos. But yeah, the bulk of them are...
Well, he just has such a charismatic personality. And I know a lot of people watching this are probably really interested in the detail and in how this was built. And we didn't get into all of that in this video. So for more, check out Dave's channel.
Yeah. Endgame, truck camper. Search that and you'll find it.
Far out. Well, it's really nice meeting you, Dave. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time.
It was a pleasure.
Right. Thanks, guys.